You're watching Drakewing Gaming. Enjoy the video. Hey guys, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming. Some of you know me on Twitter, The Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of No More Future. So, the last place we left off, Natalie was being the real MVP of the team. She was helping Isaac through some very dark thoughts he was having. Just overall being a great girl. We love Nat. She's amazing. But anyway, guys, let's jump right back into it, shall we? And see just where the strange tale goes. Please sit back and enjoy. Let me tell you for the next 20 minutes, and let's jump right in. Alarm stand, you're up, and let's go. Alright. But it's fine. We've got all the time in the world to get that sorted out. Well, at least I do. The Labrador chuckles at your slightly morbid joke, a bright smile on her face as the train begins to slow down in preparation for arrival. It's a promise. I'll hit you up as soon as I get a moment to spare. Stay frosty, all right, Isaac? You too, Nats. Oh, wow. Hello, everybody. Wow, this is some good artwork. Her legs have disappeared. Durg. As soon as you step out of the train into the radiant building beyond, you're greeted by the same colorful crowds as you're used to. The same city, the same people, the same emotions. Yet for once they're not at the top of your mind right now. After taking some steps forward, you turn around and smile at your canine friend, smiling and waving at you from within the train as she bids you off. You're quite fortunate to have people like her by your side, helping you make sense of everything that's happening around you, helping you feel less alone, less stranded in this strange world. And though your head was a maelstrom of queries and emotions but a few minutes ago, the raging seas have since calmed down, and you can even afford a smile. Natalie's right, you reckon. Whatever Jasper and Bradbury were talking about earlier has nothing to do with you. You shouldn't worry about what those two madmen have to say. You have your own life, your own needs, your own problems, and it's about time you started giving them the attention and care that they deserved. However, as much as you'd like to do so, it's hard to take everything the Labrador said just now at face value. Even with your closest friends, it's getting difficult to tell where the truth ends. And the lies begin. What? Wait. I thought I had a new... Oh my god, I thought I had a new save. I mean, no, I thought this was the new build. What? What? Entering the library. Ooh, what's this? Wait. Ooh. Hello, Sedge. Welcome back. I've been expecting you. That look on your face. Do you recall us meeting before? No. Who are you? Yes. No, I don't know you. Strange person. I see. Very well. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Renee, the owner and custodian of this library. I live here in this place, in a small corner of the universe, imperceptible and unreachable to most. Though that is hardly important right now. After all, readers like you have far more pressing questions you'd like addressed. The first and probably most important one, what is this nonsense and how do I get back to the cool story about androids and furries? Oh, why the surprised face? Of course I know about that story. In this library, that novel is merely one of many carefully curated works, and I am the curator. See? I even have that book right here. It looks so tiny right now, but not quite as tiny as it used to be. Now, on to your actual question. I'm afraid that you've reached the end of the story for now. Undoubtedly, more will be written in the future. Of which there is no more of. Yes, I know that joke very well. For now, however, this is as far as you can go. The pages from here on are blank, see? At least to you. That said, I am quite aware that some of you don't react well when that happens. Always wishing for more. Can't say I blame you, really. I always long for more myself. Hence why I decided to whisk you away to this place. To give you that little bit more you so desperately craved, as well as a chance to unwind before you finally have to put down this visual novel for the time being. A little unconventional or so, I've been told, but unconventional is the birthplace of interesting. Now that we've gone over that, let me guess. Your biggest worry right now is how this little side story is going to impact the main plot of No More Future, is it not? Don't be afraid. What we speak of here has no bearing whatsoever on that world. This is an entirely separate plane of existence, with no ties to any other of its kind, with ties to any other kind. What happens here may as well not happen at all, as far as Isaac's story is concerned. I suppose that makes it optional, as they say. If this conversation bores you, you simply don't care. You'll be glad to know that this won't hamper your future reads of No More Future as a result. We won't be discussing spoilers that are paramount to your enjoyment of the novel. This place merely exists to give people a chance to wind down and relax, not have them sweating from excitement. This isn't to say we can't have any fun conversations in the future, of course. In fact, I was hoping we could have one right after this brief explanation. All I'm saying, really, is that we don't need to have these talks if you don't want to. You can simply follow the regular story and quit as soon as I show up. I am perfectly fine with that myself. Though this does remind me. You did heed that warning when you first came in, right? The one cautioning you against saving past the end of build signpost. I hope you did, for your sake. This place's time flow isn't the same as the novel you've read so far, you see, whereas the contents of that story will remain more or less the same every time you go through it. Barring the latest developments, of course, our conversations will likely be unique. Most of them, in fact, will only exist for a month or so before being replaced by a new one the following update. Saving in the midst of one such conversation could be catastrophic. Much like with you, it's possible I'll have to introduce myself to many more people to come in the future. Like I said, time here flows differently compared to what you're used to. Just remind me that we've already met, and I'll be sure to skip this introduction. Oh? Shouldn't you be able to recognize me yourself? That might be problematic. Save for a general recognition of your presence and the occasional stray thought that wanders in the darkness, you don't exactly exist. Not in the conventional meaning of the word, at least. But I digress. Since you're still here, I might as well get on with what I was going to tell you earlier. I know you have many questions now, questions that you hope will be answered in the future, or maybe ones that you fear will never be answered at all. But fear not, I can provide you with the answers you seek. When possible, at least. Nobody likes spoilers, after all. It's the perfect opportunity for you to learn things you might have never learned otherwise, for better or worse. At least, that's what was supposed to happen. So it would seem as though the first act of Isaac's story has drawn to a close, for now at least. Knowing the writer, I'm sure it won't take long for him to rework everything again and again and again, endlessly meddling with his story and characters in his search for perfection. Then again, I can't exactly blame him. I used to do very similar things not that long ago. But that's all in the past, not the kind of past I wanted to talk about today. On that note, are you enjoying your time reading this novel, dear reader? I truly hope so. It'd be a shame if all the effort the writer and his team put into it were to go to waste. Now, not like it wouldn't be his fault were that to be the case. He's the one who wrote it, after all. Isn't that funny how novels work? You read them for pleasure, but end up leaving with much more than that once you're done with them. Some find comfort in their favorite characters' tales, others strengthen their purpose. Whereas some, such as the writer himself, often seek ideas. Lots and lots and lots of ideas. No More Future would have never been born had the writer never discovered furry visual novels to begin with. It was through playing other people's stories that he eventually convinced himself to try his hand at one. He'd been searching for quite a while, you know, for a medium through which his own brand of art could shine, I mean. As much as he used to have writing fanfictions. They didn't exactly pay the bills or anything, not to mention it's widely known that furries can't read. That was a joke. I hope you're laughing. Either way, visual novels simply seemed like a great idea at the time. People would read the story just as much as they'd marvel at the art, and maybe he'd finally get some readers again. Plus, I hear in Japan and other places they'd often make anime adaptation of popular visual novels. That's as good a road to success as any. At least that's what I gleaned from what few thoughts of his occasionally swirl my way. I cannot actually tell if his logic is sound or anything. Either way, I'm sure some of you readers are in a similar boat as he was, eager to start their journey into the world of furry visual novels and maybe earn a few pennies along the way as well. But I must warn you, the road is harsher than it may seem at first glance. The mistakes you could make as a result of ignorance, overconfidence, and sheer stupidity are far too many to list. I could hardly mention a few of them off the top of my head. So I compiled an actual list of mistakes the writer made to act as a reference. I'm sure he won't mind if I share a few of them with you. In fact, since I'm about to do it, he probably wants me to. I'm such a nice person revealing all these embarrassing facts on his behalf. But in all seriousness, let's see. First things first, selling off main character slots in your visual novel too early. Did you know Nimrin and Yume were not native to No More Future's world? They actually belonged to other people. The former got a spot in the game's main cast through a hefty donation before the main story had even been finalized, whereas the latter was added later for other reasons. Of course, having to include two characters in your game that don't really fit the kind of vibe of your story is a tall order, especially when we don't even know what your story is going to be about. Alright, that was an exaggeration, but still. It took plenty of brainstorming to find a solution to this conundrum. Lots of scrapped story ideas for what role Nim would play, and where Yume would fit in. But in the end, everything worked out. A good writer can find a solution to every storytelling problem, improvise, and overcome, even when there's seemingly no hope. But I'd argue a better writer would not have to resort to this skill in the first place. Don't sell out main character slots to others, even if you think you can manage the task. Then let's see. Coming up with too many gimmicks. This one's probably self-explanatory. Sometimes you're so wrapped up in coming up with something extra, you forget everything about the actual content you're making. Did you know there were plans to make an in-game glossary at some point? Something to explain all the fancy terms like abilities or the shift and all that jazz. It would have been written from Isaac's perspective, and it would have offered some insights into No More Future's world and the way he perceived it. It probably would have been a lot of fun to read, but also a pain to write, code, and implement. Not to mention there was no way to guarantee anyone would use it. Worse yet, what if someone didn't and ended up not understanding anything with the plot as a result? At the end of the day, these kinds of plot points are better left for the main story to tackle. Having a glossary kind of takes away from the joy of discovering everything as you get deeper and deeper into the story. It's the same reason why the writer had to remove player choices from the game. He probably preferred all his readers to play through the same version of his story for the sake of consistency. And again, that's another thing he tried to do, but ended up regretting later. That's what happens when you don't know what you're doing, I suppose. When you don't have a coherent vision for what your game should feel like, or worse yet, let yourself be confined by what everyone else did before you. Which, to be fair, is probably a result of the game being conceived and released within a 4-month window. So when you dear readers write your own stories, be sure to think really hard about what you want and don't want your game to be, and then once you know, stick to that idea as much as you can. Within reason, of course. Either way, our third insight tip of the day is, don't do weird things with your Patreon. Wait, I'm weird things with your Patreon. Ugh! In the end, I suppose I can understand why the writer would think that. One of his goals when starting this project was to prove to himself and others that furry visual novels were a self-sustaining job. So he came up with all sorts of elaborate gimmicks, once again to justify people donating more and more to support his projects, but very few people evidently liked them. I wonder how many chapters deeper in this novel we'd be, had he worked a little harder on the actual story instead of focusing on, well, me. I mean, it's not like I'd disappear if we weren't to have these conversations anymore. I'm still very much active, especially when you readers can't see me. But then again, I digress. It's tempting to seek the fastest route to your investments, but if you only work on your game to make a quick buck, your readers will notice. And if you try too hard to make investing in your game worth it, sometimes the game itself suffers as a result. And worse yet, sometimes you might get very little in return to boot. My best advice to you, dear readers, is to not lose your way chasing money or trends, whatever you feel like you must include in your gamer community. Focus on the story you want to tell, on the characters whose tales you wish to weave, and do them a favor by putting your thoughts into practice. They'll thank you eventually. Most of them, anyway. Regardless, what else is written here? No, this can't be right. Don't be an ass? Seriously? Is that truly a lesson people need to be taught? I thought it was self-evident. Could it be that... Oh no. There's quite a few examples listed here as well. Huh. Are you people up there alright? This reads like insanity, honestly. However, as much as I'd like to go into details, I'm afraid we've wasted more than enough time here today. I wager you have more important things to do at this time anyway. Do remember, though, everywhere you go and everyone you meet are a lesson waiting to be learned. Mistakes that aren't to be repeated, examples that are to be followed. Be on the lookout for these things, and always strive to be a better person and a better writer than those who came before you. Keep that in mind until our next meeting, alright? I'll see you again shortly. Or not. We'll see. Oh wow, that actually took up quite a bit of time. I thought this was going to be a short video. Nope. Okay guys, this was somewhat of a shorter video today for No More Future, but we got a little bit of extra side content. That was pretty cool. Yeah, this is going to go up as a full video. Yeah, I think it's got quite enough content. I think it's like, what, 15 minutes? That's pretty decent. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribing, that notification bell. Leave a super thanks or a tip if you can. It always helps. Excuse me. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!